Thank you very much. Shabbat Shalom. Greetings to you all. Now, I hope you all got to enjoy the super new moon, which occurred on the 25th. Very special day, and super moons are the ones that make the closest pass to the Earth. Now, we like super full moons better because we get to see the full moon, but not the new moon. But as this super new moon falls in Gemini, it'll be guiding us to focus on our thoughts and how we've been communicating to ourselves, to others, to the world. Gemini is about thoughts and communication. Now, Gemini energy is very thought-driven, and often there are times when we all experience our thoughts running away from us. This moon is clearing out oppressive thought from the last year, so let it clear out. Now, new moons and full moons always represent the start and end of cycles, but often their impact may linger for months or even for years. Now, this is especially true when we have a supermoon or an eclipse. And this year we have two in a row, as the new moon of June will also be the super new moon. So be prepared to think and to feel with great intensity over the next couple of months, probably, maybe longer. Now, the moons have always been very special in Judaism, not only because it follows a lunar calendar. Remember, one of the first commands from God was to honor the new moon. And so it was one of the special times of the year when the shofar would be blown. So have a great new moon and a great new month, everyone. Now, I've been away, as you all know, and it's great to be back. I love traveling, but I love being home, especially these days, as the world needs to come together to heal. So let's all take this opportunity to call for healing for the people of Manchester. Healing for the decent people of the world who know better than to wreak destruction on children. Healing and renewal to and for the world. And while the new moon means a new month, that does not mean we still cannot draw on the month of healing that just enveloped the planet. So let's share healing and goodwill and love with all the people in our lives. For a dear friend of mine, too shy to have their name mentioned, let us send out healing energy to all who need it. And think of those you know. For them, for everyone, for love, for renewal. The kindness, the healing, the good wishes, the goodwill and love that you send out circles the world. I'm telling you, it finds those in need. So thank you, each and every one of you. Mi sheberech avotenu makor habracha Limotenu, may the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. The renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach, let us all, everywhere the world over, have our spirits renewed. And do not forget, my friends, next week, the Gathering Festival of Shavuot takes place. Now, the holiday called for, that is 7 Sabbaths after the Festival of Unleavened Bread. This year it's from May 30th to June the 1st, so it's coming up next week. Biblically, it was the Feast of Weeks, Shavuot, 7 week, and was 7 weeks after Passover. It was the feast of the first fruits, and it also commemorates God giving the Torah to the people. And when we talk about the Torah, we refer really to the Decalogue, the Ten Commandments. Now, it is also the holiday in which the book of Ruth is read, and that is one of the 5 megalot, or scrolls, in the Tanakh. Not that long ago, we read the book of Esther, another of the 5 megalot. And Ruth is read because Ruth was the maternal start of the line of King David, and because Ruth is the story of following faith. Now, it's considered connected to the idea of God giving the Torah to the people because the Torah was predicated upon the entire population adhering to the covenant, of holding to faith. So the themes of Ruth and the giving of the Torah are connected. So what can you do to honor this festival? Well, since it is the Feast of First Fruits, it's about the first new harvest after the slumber of winter. So honor the green and the growth of life. Take a walk in nature's home. Go fishing, play golf, go hiking. Acknowledge the beauty of newness. Read the Decalogue, the Ten Commandments, which you will find in Exodus 21-17. Hey, it's not that long, and it teaches you everything you need to know to honor the spirit of creation, which honors the environment, yourself and your roots, and your fellow travelers on this orb. And finally, read the book of Ruth. It's not that long. You listen to Esther every year, so why not Ruth? The story of devotion, faith, decency, and humanity. And if you want to be confused a little bit even more, then read some of the Book of Jubilees, which I think is an incredible book. It's one of the Apocrypha. Now, that is a Bible book not included in the Bible for particular reasons, and there are many of them. You can buy huge volumes and read them all. And if any other book should have been in the Bible, then this is it. The Book of Jubilees is fantastic. Now, it lists Shavuot as being a week later, and it does it through this mathematical formula connecting the holiday to the date coinciding with the first rainbow, which was supposed to have been the 15th of Sivan. Any way you think of it, friends, this is one of the three gathering festivals called for the special times that God directed the people to observe. It is a coming together festival. And it is the coming together as friends, as a chavura of fellowship, joining to express our nature of kindness, compassion, and energy of sharing of thoughts, feelings, and hopes and dreams and wishes that unites us all, coming together every week in this community house of spirit, Beth Ruach. So once again, please do go ahead and invite everybody you know, physically, spiritually, to gather and share. From Psalm 133, the Hine Matov, come together. Hine Matov U'Benai, Shevet Achim Yachad. Hine Matov U'Benai, Shevet Achim Yachad. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community, 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 together. So as a community, let us all spread love, goodwill, fellowship to the entire world. Now this week, Vayadeber Adonai al Moshe Bamidbar, Sinai Ba'ocha. And God spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai. In the wilderness. Such a better title than Numbers. Remember, the Hebrew name comes from early partial words, whereas the English comes from the Greek, which went along theme lines. Right? Now, in this case, even the theme is really the wilderness journey. Numbers refers to the two censuses, one at the beginning and one at the end. And the one at the beginning, as you will see, was a complete waste of time. Now, the wilderness, my friends, is what we all face on our personal journey to freedom. To overcome fear, to find forgiveness and love, to discover our promised lands. In many ways, this, to me, is the most important book in the Bible. Now, the wilderness depiction conveys two quite different qualities. On the one hand, the wilderness years constitute a kind of ideal. The people's life is orderly, protected close to God. It's a period of incubation, of nurturing. All is provided for them. Food, water, direction. The miraculous is the norm. Now, at the same time, the wilderness is depicted as terrible. Conditions are bad. The environment is hostile. There is rebellion from within and fighting with peoples whom they encounter on the way. There are power struggles and fear. Wow, sounds like normal, doesn't it? And this is pictured as having been almost entirely avoidable, a fate that has come upon the people for having rejected the opportunity to enter the promised land. It is an amazing metaphor for life. Now, the book of Numbers is the story of a journey, and the story is like no other, and the generation involved is like no other. Unlike Leviticus, which took place in a complete state of stasis with no motion whatsoever, Numbers is entirely about movement. There is no standing still in numbers. It's not a straight road, but it is a long and winding road. It is a perfect metaphor for life. The long and winding road that leads to your door will never disappear. I've seen that road before. It always leads me here. Leads me to your door. It is a long and winding road that people are still on. The journey has been a metaphor for man since man began to write, beginning with the oldest known story, the Epic of Gilgamesh. Then, of course, the classic poem by Homer, the Odyssey. And our own immortal Wizard of Oz, which reminded us that no matter where we go, we take our issues with us because there is no place like home. And like Dorothy, we all continue to look for the ideal beyond where we are. Now, Gilgamesh searched for the key to immortality. Biblical man was searching for the promised land. Many still are. Odysseus was searching for his home. And Dorothy wanted something over the rainbow. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Now, who doesn't dream of blue skies where hopes, dreams, and wishes all come true? Certainly we all do, my friends. The journey can be the experience of an individual or a group. Here it is both. It's the people of Israel's journey from Sinai to the border of Canaan, from the site of establishment of the covenant to the place where it is to be fulfilled. And it is Moses' journey from Mount Sinai to Mount Nebo, from the place where he has seen God to the place of his death. This is an entire nation in movement with a visible miracle, call them a cloud and fire, and miraculous feeding, manna, happening in their presence at all times over a span of nearly 40 years. It is the only age in the Bible in which miracle is a daily fact of life. Now, never mind in the Bible, it's the only time in history. Now, there's a destination anticipated in the future, in which some will participate and some will not. In fact, only 2 of the 650,000 males will still participate. And the people represent all aspects of man. Their mentality coming into this is a mentality of slaves. There are various groups and individuals among them, dissenters, riffraff, with an interest in positions of leadership. Now, the story is about the people and God, but it is focused more than ever on Moses, his personality, and especially his conflicts. And it is your story and your journey. It begins almost as a continuation of Leviticus. The priestly writer's enthusiasm for pageantry is manifested in this great initial roll call of the tribes as the book begins and ends. But in between is a return to storytelling wrapped in with laws. Now, in between the great counts, we're given laws intended to protect cultic purity with considerable attention devoted to the trial by ordeal of the wife suspected of adultery. It is the only such trial in the Bible. And to the Nazarites' vow of abstinence. Now, the Israelites, Sinai behind them, are on the move, engaged here in the reconnaissance mission of the 12 spies. And that will become imminent 40 years later in narrated time. And they're not really spies, but that's what they're referred to as. Now, we're repeatedly reminded of the passing of generations as the story carries us to the border of the promised land. It never crosses over. After the incident of the spies, which we'll talk about, the entire adult generation that came out of Egypt is fated to die before the promise of the land can be realized. It's not just the journey to freedom that is written here, because in many ways this text associates movement with trouble. So there's the reality of it. We see the representations of a motley crew of malcontents, a mob churning with complaints and frustrated desires, impatient under Moses' leadership, fed up with the hardships of life in the wilderness, even though they're given everything, and nostalgic for the material comforts of life in Egypt. Now, the people bitterly protest its misery in the wilderness or Moses' leadership, or both. Now, God's wrath flares against the people, expressing itself in some sort of blight that decimates the Israelite ranks. Moses intercedes in two particular instances after God actually threatens to wipe out the entire people and to begin anew with Moses, and God relents. Most of the time, I'm clear focused all around. Most of the time, I can keep both feet on the ground. I can follow the path, I can read the sign, stay right with it when the road unwinds. I can handle whatever, stumble upon, don't even notice when I'm gone. Most of the time. Do you notice when you've drifted from the spirit of your life? Most of the time, some of the time, none of the time. Now, the two most striking episodes of Israelite resistance are the story of the spies, who report the fabulous bounty of the land but despair of conquering it, and the story of the mutiny led by Korah. They're both fantastic stories, and we're going to be talking about them in the following weeks. Now, the generation that cannot free itself from the slave mentality that it brought with it from Egypt also constitutes the beginning of a people meant to realize a grand historical destiny, and you are the fruit of that destiny. Now, there's also the amazing inclusion of ancient poetry here, some of the oldest poetry that we've actually found, and it's in the form of Balaam's oracles, a series of prophecies about Israel's future that's pronounced unlike any other biblical poetry and by a non-Israelite soothsayer. It really is a fantastic section, and the brilliant centerpiece among these citations of archaic poetry is contained in the story of Balaam and his she-ass. There's no other instances of talking animals in the historical narratives of the Bible. The only other candidate, the serpent, back in the garden story, belongs to the primeval, and therefore the more mythological phase of biblical literature. This is much more of the historical narrative, so it's really quite fascinating and stands alone among all the writings, and it confused our sages more than almost any other part. Now, especially because, according to prevalent preconception, there is no humor in the Bible. It really throws people. It should be noted that this story is actually quite funny. Now, but it also has incredible meaning. Now, the rest of the Parsha is the first of the two great censuses. It's really like, a couple of rules thrown in, a couple of laws, but it's a fantastic setup of pomp and ceremony. But it's all to be in vain. You'll find out why. Yes, the world is sacred, says everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish. Celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom. Be well, be happy, be blessed, my friends. Share and honor the light and all who live in the light and continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone. And end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we are a community. We learn together, we celebrate each other, we love each other. We share this ride together, men and women equally. Let us send out love, not fear. Send out peace. harmony, good healing to all who need it. And please do learn to forgive, learn to love, open your hearts, honor the relationships of your life, tell those you love that you love them, take advantage of the time you have, enjoy your journey. We take the twists and turns and the patterns we weave through the fabric of our lives in our effort to grow, to learn, to be, to love. So please do love. Now bless you all. Have a fantastic week, a week of love and light, a week of peace. Enjoy the Gathering Festival coming up. Keep working on manifesting your year of freedom, your new life, with all of its new opportunities. Remember, we do set in motion all that happens in our lives. Our intention, our cause, our effect, everything is linked. As I've said, you always have time to forgive and to be forgiven. You have that knowledge of what is good and bad. So acknowledge what you have done wrong to yourself, to God, to any person you have wronged. Ask forgiveness. And do so with sincerity, accountability, vulnerability. Forgive those you've hurt as you learn to be a forgiving and compassionate individual. Do not stop your journey. Do not stop moving forward towards your promised land. Keep on dreaming, keep on being, keep sharing, keep shining, keep teaching, keep spreading joy and goodwill. Do not follow fear. Follow love. It's always there in front of you. Remember to have faith and unwavering adherence to principle. Just as I have faith in the principle of love and in all of you. Now act with purity of heart and mind. Despise none, defraud none, hate none, cherish all. Honor every child of God, every creature of the earth. Now may all peoples everywhere know peace in this year. And may you nurture kindness and love everywhere. Now work to be present in the body, expand your heart, quiet your mind. Because the deepest source of real power lies in consciousness and the ability to be present, to be mindful in all circumstances. Make the most out of the time of your life. Recognize your ability to be a contagion of holiness, to touch and transform the lives of everyone around you. You are forever blessed and have the ability to bring blessings and goodwill to everyone you meet. Someday, I'll wish upon a star wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Now, do not stop reaching for your individual rainbows, my friends. Enjoy life. Spread the blessings of God. Embrace love, not fear. Forgiveness, not anger. Be there for someone because someone is always there for you, whether you know it or not. Be happy, be healthy, be helpful, be kind, be loving. Until next time, Shabbat Shalom. Blessings to you all. Have a fantastic Shavuot. And Arve, you've got a birthday coming up. And I wish you a wonderful birthday in advance. Take care, friends. See you all soon. Take care. Bye.